Oh, by the way, di sini ada adek gue. Hi everyone, how are you guys doing? Pagi Om, pagi Kurokami Channel, halo. Ada Audiotopia juga, halo. And there's also Tifamin, hello. Shikari, hello. And I don't know how to read this Chinese characters, but hello whoever's typing that very first message on the chat. Apa kabar kalian semua? How are you guys doing? So today we're basically going to talk about film music and like the creative and technical process of making film music in general. So okay, let's go to the screen already. Enough of the intro music. I really like that. PNG-nya tidak bergerak. Oh salah. PNG-nya bisa digerakin. No, tuh digerakin. Oke, kita langsung aja, shall we? Bam. Halo kalian semua. Nah, sekarang gue udah coba rearrange lagi ya layout OBS-nya. Semoga ini lebih pleasing di mata ya. Keyboardnya gue masukin, gue geser ke kiri, ke tengah. Oke. Chatbox sudah gak terlalu minuscule lagi. Bonk. So yeah, we're basically talking about film music in general. I'm going to be pretty technical about this, but not that technical, because there are a lot of process in making film music. Like there are a lot of aspects taken into account, a lot of mixed things, not just the music itself, but also like understanding the film in general, how you understand storytelling, how you understand managing time management, and managing your how to plan ahead when you want to do something like this and so forth. Ya ampun, ada Ratnet wangi-wangi, astagfirullahaladzim. Okay, so I don't know. If the majority of the viewers are Indonesian, I'm gonna speak in Indonesian. But if there are more English speakers in Indonesia, I'm gonna speak in English. So let's just see. We still have 4 viewers right now. It seems that film music isn't really the topic that people are looking forward to, but that's okay. I like doing this. I like sharing, so yeah. So yeah, basically film music, you basically write music to support the storytelling in that film or movie or even games. I see that music is also an integral part in games. I've been involved in a couple of game projects. Well, they're educational games though, but not like AAA games. I mean, I would love to do that, but it's right now it's more into like the simple kind of things like children games, educational games, and so forth. So yeah, basically you support what with music and sound, whatever you're working on. It could be a film, it could be a short film, TV, anime, and so forth. So as a composer, you would have to work with the ones who's directing the project. Like it could be the director, the producer, the basically the people who are in charge in the production of this media. If you see my title, composer for media, that's for a reason, because I don't just compose music for music, but also doing music for films, games, and any other media. I mean, the recent stuff with Hololive, I actually consider that as a media, so I support their creative endeavors through music. Yeah, So basically adding to the storytelling that they're doing, or like the fun stuff they're doing, or whatever. So yeah, basically, we'll be in contact with the producer or whatever, whoever's working with that media, and yeah, discuss about how, whether music is needed or not, and then which moments in the film or in the game that needed music and so forth. And you'll you basically are in charge of you're in charge of not just the music but also the what do you call that, the administrative kind of things, like managerial stuff. You're basically the head of department in the or in the music department. So like you as a composer, you're basically is the head. You are the head of the the music side in that media. So like before even touching the music, do the music making stuff, you would have to understand what you're working with. So like in terms of this is a film that I worked on for a college project back then. It was called a Rainmaker. It's actually a an animation that's made for a certain scoring competition. I didn't attend. I didn't participate in that competition because it was like way back, and they happened to use that clip as a educational purposes. So, so yeah, you would discuss with the producer or whoever's working on the film, like what kind of like when does music occur, and then you would so the music that you hear, like this music sections, they're called cues, like music cues in a film. So like you would discuss with the producer like how many music there should be, and then where when the music starts and when the music ends, and a lot of notes happening in each of the cues. Like maybe the producer wanted some kind of reference to a certain um, film score, or like certain sounds that the producer liked, wish it has in the score. Not a simple process in reality, actually. It's, well, the key is communication. I mean, they're both separate, like communication and the music thing, but they both do a conjunction. So they, in conjunction with the music, they work each other really well. So yeah, for example, I have like in this short film, I divided the music into 10 sections, and then 10 sections, 10 pieces of music in the film. So for example, this is Q1 MO1, which means 1 is the number of the reel, and then the 01 is 0203, and so forth are the Q numbers. So basically, the first one is the opening title, as you might have guessed. This represents the time code number, the time code of where the music should start and should end. This is in and out, and how long the cue is, like 55 seconds, and so forth. It's pretty self-explanatory. And then the thing that I like about this, I don't know if you can see you can see QDB, right? So typically you can do this in like any spreadsheet applications like Excel or Google Sheets, but the special thing about QDB is that everything's pre-made for you, so you don't really have to make templates. So it's just there for you to select and then to determine whether a cue is in progress or need rewrites or big revisions, hopefully not, revisions, small revisions, whether it's composed, whether it's approved, orchestrated, recorded, mixed, stems completed, on hold, omit, and so forth. Film scoring is surprisingly similar to theater music. Well, yeah, I mean, the function of the music is to support the storytelling, so you're right in that sense. But since theater music is live, film music is, of course, pre-produced. So, oh, ada Kia. Hello, hello. So you're still with me? Okay, that's basically it. So like, it's similar to Google Sheets where you can have like many people collaborate to edit a doc or a sheet. They can tell you that, oh, this cue is approved, or the director says, I think this needs revisions, and then inside it you can actually make comments to the versions, like, yeah, English stream today, or do you want me to speak in bahasa? Just let me know. Kalau gua mau ngomong bahasa, dikabarin aja ya di chat. So like in each of the queues, you can see like what versions are there, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then spotting notes. Oh yeah, the process of communicating these to the producers, like the back and forth thing before we actually start composing, that's called spotting, where we basically determine where the music should go in the film, and then like laid it down in this kind of document. Pretty simple. It's like planning stuff. Any is okay. Okay. I think I'm gonna do an English stream today. I haven't spoken in English for months because the pandemic, and also I'm I live alone. Okay, connection is lost. So yeah, basically let's dive into the the writing process. So basically, I as you guys probably know, I compose in Cubase. It's the DAW choice. So I've been using Cubase for, gosh, 10 years now. It's a very long time. So if you see here, I have this separator. So it separates the music tracks here, and also the movie tracks, and also like the time signatures, markers, like master stuff. Me too. uh, so yeah, the first thing that you want to do is, understand the picture first. So I think I'm gonna unarchive this because I'm showing copyrighted material here. So, or I think I might leave it for like 24 hours, and then like take it down, because I'm definitely showing copyrighted material here, but that's okay. Um, so like understand the story, um, based on your spotting notes. Consider those into account, and then like like determine the markers. So like very very important, what do you call it, events, you would add the markers to it to give you a reminder of like in the movie, when you're composing, and then when you have to like hit a certain hit point, like that's the hit point. And then yeah, so here I'm actually giving myself a self note, like what happens in the movie, and then based on the based on what's happening here. I think copyrighted video is fine. Well, I don't know. I might have to think about that later. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So understand the story first. Obviously, giving markers to points that you think are important. So I'm adding like this plane tilting up, which I think it's pretty important moment. And then like the bad guys are coming here, the bad planes. You see here. Like it won't auto detected by the YouTube bot. Well, hopefully not. And then here we see the plane kind of chase the this poor plane here, which this lady kind of fly. Then there's the thunder sync point, which obviously there's a thunder, and I think that's the moment where I want to do something musically. And then MX out. So there's MX in and MX out. MX in means music in, and MX out means music out when the music stops in that cue. So typically in a film scoring situation like this, I would pull up a orchestral template. So like when I move between cues, I don't have to add instruments from scratch. So I just have to deal with the instruments I have before and compose from there. Because in the film scoring world, time is really money. So you don't want to waste your time rebuilding instruments every time you start a new cue. I tell you guys, it's pretty time consuming. Any questions so far? Please let me know in the chat. Um, yeah, so basically this is a very basic, not basic though, your general orchestral template. So we have the woodwinds here, and then I have assortment of special effects, synthesizers, choirs, strings. There's even one synth sound called B52 Bomber, and then have some drums here. I think I actually don't when the first time I make this project, I actually started from scratch, and then moving on to the next cues, I actually use that template, if you will, that I made for the when I first made the cue, the very first cue for the first time, and then just carried on for the next cues, because pretty much the instrumentations are generally similar, very very similar to one another. So yeah, there's that. Just in awe by looking your project file. Well, not all of them are used though. Uh, I think this is a very pretty short sequence. Like, okay, I can actually see how long this queue runs for. So 1MO4, if we see QDB, 1MO4 is like 55 seconds. Or, oh, actually, 1 minute and 21 seconds. So it's pretty fair, I guess. This film scoring also includes the sound effects, gun sound, jet sounds, or done by other department. Okay, I think this is very important to address. The so the thing I'm doing here is called scoring, which is adding music, and there's also sound effects, which generally are done by another department. So this department is called sound design department, where they deal with the sounds that you actually see in the movie. So like for example, the effects of this plane, the sound effects, the engine sounds, and then also the dialogues. That's a completely different department than the music department, although the music department sometimes have to take into account that there will be obviously sounds there will be like real life sounds that they have to take into account. Morning on Farhan, man, I bet he's got a 1 terabyte worth of sound effects. No, well, I have an SSD at like 2 terabytes just for music samples, but not sound effects though. Although I have a handful of them, but I mean, I use it for only for music, not really sound effects. I mean, I've done one or a couple of projects where I have to sound design. So, but that doesn't really count. Do scoring people usually work with Foley artists? No, no. That's a completely different department. That's the sound design department that I just mentioned. So with the sounds that you actually see in the movie, that's the sound design department. Whether it be Foley, the the voice actors, the sound design elements and stuff like that, it's in the sound design department, the post sound department. While the music department, well, they generally just write music, like the music that goes with the film. Uh, okay, moving on. We're looking at my instruments here. So this template is pretty general. So we have drums here and a brass section, and I also have a synth bass just to beef things up, and also strings. Um, I use two major string libraries. One is Spitfire. What do you call that? The Spitfire chamber strings, and also the Hollywood strings. I think I have to reset this project because Contact. I This was done in Contact 5, and I have Contact 6 in this machine. So it's still considering that it's demo. Well, it's not. Okay, let me actually reopen this. Bum, ba-dum, ba-dum. I like my failed contact moment. Okay, please don't crash on me. Okay, not crashing. Might have to change it to another screen. My webcam just for a sec. So that was 4, right? Okay, it's loading right now. I'm not gonna use my keyboard for today. I mean, I remember loading this project in my old i5 laptop and it took ages. And now everything just goes burr, 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 and here we are. Okay, let's just... You can see just fine, right? I'm just gonna play this cue, and you can see the movie right here. I'm just gonna play it. Yeah, so that's the uh, that's the cue for this scene. The Ghost Orchestra. I think this is not the Ghost Orchestra thing. It was another cue. But I think I'm gonna show that later on. So if you see in this moment where the camera kind of cuts to the to this shot, and then this bad plane kind of shows up and then starts shooting. I put that drum hit like here, like right in the cut to give this how do you call that? To give this sense when there's something wrong, you know, there's something scary coming out. I already foreshadow it before with the string pulse here. And it goes stronger when the two planes actually start shooting. So you deal with dynamics and intensity based on what you see in the screen. Yeah, is this what you call hit point? Yes. So although I didn't add a marker to that hit point, but I just decided that it needs a hit point on this moment when the camera really cuts and starts showing, because the distance between the camera cut and the moment where the plane kind of start to appear, it's only like few frames apart. So I just hit it right at that picture cut, you know. There's this moment where there's a crescendo where it hits when the good plane starts to avoid, you know, the bad plane from passing. There you go. And then when the good plane starts to tilt up, I give it this. There's this theory called this thing called Mickey Mousing, where you know, when you watch Disney films back in the day, like Mickey Mouse films, they orchestrate based on what they animated. So for example, when Mickey Mouse is walking, then you would hear like a lot of xylophone, you know, xylophone playing, and then like when something's like being thrown away, you would hear this trumpet slide and so forth. That's called Mickey Mousing. I did a little bit of Mickey Mousing on this one. You see that cymbal rising up, like shh, like that whoosh sound. And then when you see this plane's tilting up, we thought that she's safe for quite some time, but actually she's just going over this cloud, and eventually she'll be attacked with the bad planes again. So I made the arrangement a little bit calmer in this one. Also, I foreshadowed like something's bad going to happen with this intensity rise on the strings. I kept the ostinatos going in here, and like there's a slight moment where the plane's not being attacked, but we're waiting for something coming out. this silence on 2-4 on bar 18 where we finally see that the plane's still chasing each other. And then finally with the thunder, I think I put this by mistake. I must have moved it by mistake. But so see this thunder sync point here that has hit. Like the final hit actually hits when we see this thunder. And it goes deep. The bad planes kind of fly away. So with the chords I use here, basically I want to tell that this moment where this plane actually was safe for a little bit, but there's still something bad that's going to happen, so hence the scary chord that I'm using here. Still, I stop the rhythmic from happening. Give that sense of anxiety. And then there's this actually another thunder here, and then I decided that's when the music should stop, so we can give room for the thunder sound. Yeah, that's from the creative side of things. It's really hard to, to explain this creatively, but because I have to come up with words explaining this. But for the technical side of stuff, it's pretty much self-explanatory. Explain about mixing and stuff on the later cue, because I have another cue that's more intensive. I think you guys might recognize this because I shared this on Instagram and YouTube. Let's see. I think it's this one. 1MO6 version 5. Where are you? Okay, let's wait for a while till it loads. Is it loading? Yeah, it's loading. I hit some OKs because this was done in an old laptop. So I just happened to have the backup and then load it here in my new PC. So it's searching for samples that are stored in my past setup. But just hit search Spotlight and just finds it pretty quickly. Where are you? Okay, there you are. Can you say it all right? Okay, let's actually shall we see the movie and then play the project? I think this is this has a lot of things to talk about, so yeah, that's it. That's the cue for this scene. So obviously there are a lot of drums happening, and then a lot of string lines, and then a lot of in vocal music you would say lines distribution, where you or like in idol music where you distribute the lines to each of the singers, while in this case I distribute the melodies into different instruments to give a different color depending on what the event is in the screen. So like on the first one I have the French horns. And then I transfer that to the low strings. Do you focus on building specific leitmotifs for score? Okay, so leitmotifs, I have to explain it. So it's basically a little idea of music where you expand that more when you're writing film music. So for example, in Star Wars is really well known for this. So you have this pa 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 pam pam ba da da dam, and then you would hear that throughout the film, and then each of the characters has their own themes, and then depending on the situation in the movie and whether that character is relevant or not, the themes kind of just pop in once in a while, And that's called leitmotifs. Basically, it depends on the project. On this one, the leitmotif is like bam 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 bam. So like it's similar to the Intel theme, bam 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 bam. But you would hear that leitmotif here more in this section. Hold on. Here. Ba, ba, ba. So with that leitmotif, you would have this basic leitmotif and then develop it, maybe reverse it or like transpose it, do a lot of things with it, modify it, and so you still have the sense of familiarity. The audience will have this sense of familiarity when they're going through the sequence of the film. So. Okay, where were we? So we're. And are there any recent films that you'd praise for their score for? I haven't been watching films lately, but for sure the stuff by Hayao Miyazaki. No, that's the Ghibli guy, the composer. Not Quincy Jones, but who's his name? I forgot. Why do I forget things? Can you guys help me? Is it Joe Hisaishi? Yeah, that's the guy's name. I really like those things. The guy's music. So basically, the idea is spreading the possible voices to make a very grand sound. So the strings alone, if you solo it. And then the strings go crazy in this end section, as you can probably hear. I set the violins in a very, very high octave, like almost flute-like. Especially when it comes to this moment where her plane kind of stops working, and then she just went in the middle of the air, and then not knowing what to do. Okay, that's for the strings, and then I also have a synth bass element here to give it more of a beef. Maybe in the mix you don't really realize that, but in the context of the mix, you actually it actually contributes to the mix. If I disable it, it's missing that beat. So if I turn it on, I don't know if you can hear the difference on something like YouTube, but it's there. It's a cool sound though. I'm using Silent One for this. Then we can just loop that part and see what's going on that part. Okay, so we saw the strings and the brass. So if you see here, the brass section doesn't really play as often as the strings, for a reason though, because you don't want your brass player to play constantly because it's so taxing physically. And so like bowing versus blowing is a different really different in terms of the energy that you see. So you don't want to burden your player by having constant brass parts. Faranbo. Hello, Eric. There's a question. When it comes to scoring, do you compose first, then film the scene? Is it up to the editor whether they're editing the film? I'm not entirely sure on the order. So, the first, when it comes to scoring, well, the picture has to be there first in order for me to work on it. Well, unfortunately, it's up to the picture editor whether they can give me a final or still a work in progress. So we as a composer have to deal with that, and then like with sudden picture changes, have to really adapt to that. And then when we actually are done with the music, and then there's no time to, when there's a picture revision and then there's no time for the composer to change things, that's when the music editor comes to play. So the music editor basically, they import the music that's done and to the to the and then like send it to the picture editor. So like when there's an edit that needs to be done that the composer cannot do, then the music editor has to do this splicing, and then like when for example when a certain duration is cut, and then the music has to adapt to that, it's the music editor's job to make sure the cuts flow smoothly without having the entire sequence. I don't know if you understand that, but but it's basically opposed stuff. Weekly TV series composer get real bad. Yeah, yeah. I can relate to that, especially in my college days. Yeah, a lot of it happening in the brass section because this is a war scene, basically. You want to be really, really intense with that. And also the drums here. There are a lot of drum layers here. So since this short film takes place in a desert, so I added a lot of ethnic drums, like darbuka, which is like Indian drum. If we solo that. So that's the ethnic element. It's coming. Oh, thank you. This is for the subscription. Thank you. Muhammad siapa? Muhammad Fareza ya tadi. And after that, we have the electronic drums element. Stylus RMX. And then the orchestral drums, the acoustic ones. You know, bass drum and snare drum, then cymbals as well. So I have three cymbals, a suspended cymbal, a cymbal pair, and also a gong. And then there's a djembe, an African drum. And then to add some more impact, I also added stomps and claps. I think this is from a free library. Would you recommend Stylus RMX? It is expensive, but I would definitely recommend it if you because as a film composer, they have to be really quick, and then to sketch things out, I think Stylus RMX is really, really quick to do that. They have a lot of epic stuff and then percussive stuff. I don't really use their drum set loops though, but for electronic stuff, I would usually use this and then like mangle the loops, because the good thing about Stylus is that the loops are actually slides by MIDI, so you can mangle the loops however you want. And then similar to, if I don't know if you know Reason, the Dr. Octorex device, when where they slice loops and then you can do different things to each of the loop hits contained in that loop. It's worth the investment, I think. Then we also have this big boomer sound. I call it Big Boomer. It's basically a tom ensemble. Also, there's the harp for transitions. Oh, it's off. Oh no, demo timeout. I think it's been 20 minutes. But on top of that, there's the synthesizers, like pads from Omnisphere. Very, very subtle, but it adds texture to it. You know, these kind of stuff. synthesizer textures to thicken things up, and also the woodwinds here. I don't really use well, I really use the Piccolo effects. So like there's this patch in Hollywood woodwinds, like each of the why it doesn't sound. So if you hear those complex piccolo effects, it's not played in the keyboard. Obviously, it's impossible to achieve that by playing the keyboard. They're just, one shots spread across the keyboard, like different one shots of piccolo effects, and also flute lines, oboe, woodwind trills. Yeah, I think we can move on to another cue. Let's see. Okay, the other one. I think we can do a more calmer stuff here. This is actually the ending scene of the movie. Let it load for a bit. I love watching your videos. They help me so much with my composition production. Thank you, though. I'm. This is not a teaching channel, though. Just sharing the things I understand, and sharing what I know. I'm not educating, though. I'm just sharing what I know. But if you find it beneficial, then yeah, thank you very much for that. So this is the ending scene, basically. Oh, ada Miss Kurarisa. Oh, Clarissa ya. Halo, halo. Oh yeah, I think this is a very good opportunity to mention tempo, the use of tempos in this kind of thing. So, to be honest with you, a lot of the tempo decisions are luck based. So like when you drop a tempo and then when you play the metronome, and then you got a certain tempo, when it matches the hit points, then that's where you get lucky, and then you can decide easily and on which beat the music should hit, which should do something when it reaches some sort of event here. So for example, for this kind of what do you call that moment, when this woman actually sees this blueprint of the plane, and then there's this silence, and then the music kind of starts again. It's actually on tempo. If I turn on the metronome, 3, 1, 2, 3, you actually don't realize that there's a tempo behind it. They just don't stop. They stop. They have certain amount of rest, and that's already counted. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I love that moment. And then obviously I added one more beat, so it's 4/4. So it hits on beat 1 when it comes to this title card here. And then there's this moment where I slow down the tempo to match the cuts here. So if you see here, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. If I didn't have that tempo, just keep it constant, and then I won't get this tightness. The music actually hits before the picture actually cuts, which is pretty odd if you see it. But if we slow it down in a bit, and this is the thing with film scoring, you have to be really precise with your tempos. So when you're making parts for musicians to record film scores for, you have to give the musicians a metronome click in their headphones, or else they cannot sync to the picture. And then also in an orchestra setting, the conductor has to hear the metronome that's already made by the composer when they're actually composing. So these actually corresponds to whatever time codes here. So, when it hits bar 1, it's in this time code. And then when it hits bar 17, it's this time code. So it has to perfectly match the time code in the movie with the music. So you'll deal with two different time formats, which is bars and beats, and also time code. Constantly automating and readjusting tempo over scenes seems like a lot of work. A lot of that is luck, I think. You have to get lucky, or else you would deal with that, Well, sometimes you can just, compose from scratch, and then I think there's Cubase has this feature where you can. Oh, thank you for the subscription, Farhan Zaki Fikran. There's this feature in Cubase where you can determine where your beats are with MIDI, and then the tempo will actually shift based on that beats that you put in as MIDI. So you can just play, 1, 2, 3, 4 in like whatever 120 or something, and then you tell Cubase to, I think there's a feature here called merge tempo from tapping. So basically you tap along the, maybe you want to follow a certain scene or something, then just tap in from there, tap like it's like quarter notes, and then when you hit this button, merge tempo from tapping, Cubase will actually map the tempo for you. What does TCG mean? It's time code generator, I think. I'm sure TC stands for time code, but I'm not really sure about the G. Can be generator or generate. Same as Mixcraft then, like markers from tempo. I see. This particular thing has a lot of string lines and not really brass. The brass just playing pads, chords. Most of them largely use strings. You see, I disabled some tracks because it's not needed. In this project as well, I use 2 different string libraries. So, thank you for the subscription, Miss Clarissa. Halo Clarissa. Clarissa Dewi kan ya ini? 2 string libraries. So the first one is chamber strings. This is more of a closed section, like 9 violins, um, few violas, and I think it's 9 5 5 4 or something like that. The arrangement, and the Hollywood strings is way bigger, like 18 violins. I wonder how many violas they have. They usually say it here, but I think it's actually it's twice as players as the chamber strings have. So I use with them both. The Hollywood strings to thicken things up, while you can hear the details more, like the intimate vibratos in the chamber strings. So you heard the chamber strings. And we also have the Hollywood strings, which basically play the same thing, basically, but with a bigger, thicker sound. And then to drive the rhythm of this passage, I use the harp. So standard waltz pattern. Bum, 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 bum. I don't know much about music producing or music, but it looks cool and fun. If I want to make one, where should I start? It seems overwhelming to start. Well, seeing this will make people overwhelmed, because, yeah, the amount of tracks and stuff like that. But it's actually less complicated than it actually is. So if you want to start, I suggest going for GarageBand for Mac. If you're on a Mac, then it should have GarageBand. I think GarageBand is a good place to start. It's tailored for beginners and hobbyists. And, well, there's a lot of sounds, really good sounds actually. They're built into GarageBand that you can use. If you're on Windows, there's Cakewalk by BandLab. It's a free software. It's more advanced and actually complicated than GarageBand, honestly, when I see it. But it's a good place to start as well, since it's free. And it used to be paid, but then Cakewalk, the company that developed Sonar, or Cakewalk, now it's called Cakewalk, they sold their assets, and then it's bought by the Singapore company, BandLab, and they just brought it free as a free program, which is pretty cool. You get like $600 or something worth of software for basically free. What else do we have? A lot of textures in this one as well. So there's this pad. I think I should turn off the metronome. It's getting annoying. And then we have this hang drum to give transition. Because if you see here, the rain starts to shower, to fall down, and then I think hang drum tremolo would do the trick with this Tibet pad. Also, there's vapor pad. To give it more of an edge. And then a piano. Like, this is I think a film scoring cliche when there's something emotional and then you play three notes. Then this kind of chord. Like the sad chord. Actually, 2 notes. played very, very softly. And this is no ordinary piano. It's una corda. This is basically a felt piano. So there's something. So basically, a piano. How piano works is you have a key that triggers a hammer to hit the string, right? But in this case, the string is being covered with felt or like some kind of cotton. So like when the hammer hits the strings, the sound is actually muffled because of this cotton or any other material that's in the way of the hammers to hit the strings. Oh yeah. We don't forget the big boomer on the very end. The big boomer, yeah. I think there's also choir in here. Oh yeah. We have the Bulgarian choir and the boy ooh choir. Singing just eh. Then it gets forte and all that. And then for the crescendos and decrescendos, I use this controller, the modulation wheel. So in emulating instruments expressively, you have to have some sort of controller that emulates the performance aspect of it. So when you're playing something and then you want to trigger the dynamics, because the thing with keyboards is that you only can control the note on and note off with keyboards, unless if you have the modulation wheel to control the dynamics, because it's continuous. So you can use modulation to control the dynamics. You can do convincing diminuendos and crescendos and all that. So many people think that it's a toy, but it's actually not. Yeah, there's that. I wonder if some people have any questions. Just feel free. I think I'm gonna left like the last 10 minutes or so for questions if you have any, while I seek for things that might be worthwhile to mention. Oh, actually, I'm gonna I already exhausted all my questions. I think. I think I'm gonna open this one last thing. It's some more. So we just listened to some edgy stuff, and then I'm just gonna do a calming romantic stuff in this one. I wonder if I can still. Oh, thank you, Epion, for the subscription. Let's see if I can still open this project. Because this project involves a real orchestra. And it has libraries. It uses libraries that I don't own, because this was a, what do you call that? A school, a college assignment. Fatul Haki, mampir bang, mampir. Oh, I just accidentally unsubscribed earlier. Okay, I think I can play this, but not the strings part, unfortunately. But the not the whole strings. I think I'm just gonna. Let's see if I still have the final mix, so you guys can hear what it is about. How to Train Your Dragon. Iya, benar-benar. How to Train Your Dragon. Mana ya? Ini kali ya. Oke. Kita import aja. Halo, Owen. Thank you, Mi Terune, for the subscription. Why it's in mono? Okay. Stereo, please. Halo, Owen. Apa kabar? Okay, we're back. Okay, I'm just gonna play the final mix, but you can see the tracks that are used here. Is this the one that you did for Eric Suspice? No. This is a college project. In this one, I used obviously virtual instruments, but also real players. So we were assigned to gather real orchestra players, solo players though, not so much to play in the queue. So I happen to have a flute, a couple of flutes, clarinet, and a string quartet. This is how they sound. So they're just individual players. With live players, you essentially add more emotion to it. So on top of the sequence parts, oops, I think I forgot to mute that to edit that one flute breath. As you can see for the mixing, I use a lot of volume automation to give it more, depth in terms of the performance. Bringing up things that needs to be brought up, and yeah. Ada yang tahu mungkin ini mirip lagu apa? Notnya hampir sama loh. Mi, fa, sol, do, si, la, sol. Ayo, mirip lagu apa? It's similar to a song that I wrote. Mi, fa, sol, la, sol, do, si, la, sol. Ayo. Mi, fa, sol, do, si. Do, si, la, sol, fa, mi, re. Ayo. Fa, sol, do, si, la, sol, fa, mi, re. Ayo, ada yang tahu gak? Mi, fa, sol, do, Ah, mi fa sol do sol mi sol enggak, itu mah balon. Yang terjun ke rabbit hole pasti tahu itu lagu apa. I don't know. I just like that mi fa sol do si la sol motif. So I use that in Identity Voices and this one as well. Yeah, so that's basically it. Halo Gusti Ayu Trishna Safira Devi, panjang juga namanya. Halo. Wow. Ini bisa dibilang versi orkestranya Identity Voice, tapi nggak juga sih. Cuman karena mi fa sol do si la sol doang. It reminds me of Ghibli films ya. Ghibli films. Jadi, apa gue ngomong bahasa Indo aja ya. So the first thing I did was compose everything in MIDI, and then hand the parts, and then make the score because we had to, for two reasons. Because it's an assignment, and I also need to record real players. And the thing with real players is they don't read piano rolls like this unless you're Hans Zimmer or whoever is reading from piano roll. So I have to create a legible musical score for the players to play this. So I ended up gathering a flute player, a clarinet player, and a string quartet. Actually, I can show you how it looks. Please give me 1 second to pull that up. Where is it? I wonder. Scores. 3M25. Okay. Here you go. So this is actually a rescore of the assignment. Is basically a rescore of one of the scenes in How to Train Your Dragon. So there's this scene called the romantic spin. It doesn't really spell like that. I just spell like it because it's interesting. So yeah, on basically the details in this score. So this score has all the instruments in the orchestra basically, and you have this very very large time signature, so it's easy to conduct with. And you have the details like when the music starts and when the music ends, how long is the duration, and 6 clicks free bar 2 bar 1 means so when you're conducting and the players are seeing the score, they actually have to hear the metronome, right? So 6 clicks free to bar 1 means there's a 2 measure count in going to bar 1. So a 2 measure count in means when you're playing in 3/4, that means 6 clicks, and that's before bar 1. So the player will expect 6 clicks, 6 metronome clicks before going to bar one, and if it's 4/4, then it would be 8 clicks, something like that. This is how the entire score looks. It's pretty simple. It's that you might think it's overwhelming, but it's really I don't really use the brass at all. Just the French horns. Just need to be there to comply with the standards. So this is how the score kind of looks. If you see, there's a harp line and stuff like that. I actually haven't been doing this kind of score prep in a while, so I kind of miss doing it, but I don't miss like editing and printing and taping the scores. uh, so yeah, there's that. Oh yeah, I can show you how the individual parts look. So give me 1 second again. Okay, let's see. Okay, I think it's safe to show this folder, right? Yeah, we're safe. Makanya pakai Doriko. Belum coba pakai Doriko dan gue juga basically gak terlalu well versed dengan notation software, jadi kayak gue pasti consume a lot of time ketika gue harus gambar score gitu. Nah ini this is basically the folder of the score. So we have flutes. This is how it looks like. So for the flute player, they only have to see this one line here, and also the violins, the two violin players just need to see this. They don't need to see this. It's basically just one instrument just pulled out of this score, and basically this is what they see in their music stands. So yeah. Oh, the Wi-Fi. Hello, hello. I think I saw you, or I think I talked to you before in a Twitter Spaces thing. And that's basically it. And then you got the cellos. The cellos basically playing the easiest part among all the players. Yeah, I actually miss playing seeing real music players. I miss having recording sessions. So once all this things, these bad things are just kind of end up. Hopefully, we'll have recording sessions pretty soon. I mean, concerts are starting to begin now, to start over. But I think recording sessions start, but I actually don't really have the chance to have a recording session yet. Like, I mean, what's the point of recordings? People actually think, what's the point of having recording sessions when the players can actually record themselves, because they're used to this, you can save a lot of money renting studio spaces, or like printing out stuff and then having, pay players to go to the studio and stuff like that. I think they think that it's a way cost efficient to have remote recording sessions. Then they're starting to do remote recording sessions from there on. I miss doing this stuff, to be honest with you. Okay, do you have any more lingering questions in like the last 5 minutes? Sorry if I stutter a lot. It's 11:28 p.m. I'm not from a English speaking country, so bear with me. I hope you bear with me. Any questions before we end the stream? Oh, I think I'm gonna play this one more time. Because why not? . 。  . 。 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 。 . 。 。 。 . 。 。 。 。 。 . 。 。 . 。 。 。 。 . 。 . 。 .
.
Cool. It seems that we don't have any more questions, so I think I'm gonna end the stream. And thanks for watching the stream. I hope that was informative and entertaining somewhat. I hope this stream doesn't, you know, this encourage you to start music. I hope this encourages you. I hope this, although like with the amount of stuff, technical stuff that they're involved in the making of in music making, I hope it does it doesn't let you down. Yeah. Hopefully this is informative for you. And for copyright reasons, I have to apologize that I might not archive the stream for long. So yeah, you know what to do. Yeah, so that's the end of it, and I hope you guys doing well for the rest of the day and stay safe. Bye bye.